Welcome to On Your Own Terms. I'm Patty Talbot, and this is the place where we learn together what it takes to change the world on our own terms and in our own special ways. Today's guest is an amazing woman that I met through this Win-Win Women network. Her name is Denise Medved, and she has her own show on this network. But what I've come to learn about her is that she is the founder of a worldwide organization called Ageless Grace. I'm excited to introduce you to Denise today because I learned some important things about my brain and the potential to ward off dementia in my life. Last week, we heard from Loy Campbell, who's serving individuals and families dealing with aging and dementia. This week, we're meeting a woman who has what might be the solution. I'm eager to try what she's talking about, and I won't spill the beans and tell her secret method to you now because that's her job. So I want to introduce you to Denise Medved and have her share her beautiful story of change and making a big difference in the world, maybe in a way that might someday work Loy Campbell out of a job. And I can't think of anything she would like more than to be able to put her energy out of the dementia care business because there is no more dementia. We'll see if that's possible. I surely hope so. Here is Denise Medved telling her homegrown solutions for a patchwork world.
Well, I am very homegrown, even though I've lived in California and New York City for many, many years, spent most of my adult life in New York. I am born and raised in Raccoon Valley, Tennessee, on a farm. Had a wonderful, tiny family life with my mom and my dad. And my mom had one sister who had one child. And my grandmother was there. My grandfather passed away before I was born. So we used to make a joke that we could have a family reunion in a closet because there were so few of us. And so my mother and my dad and my grandmother were huge influences in my life then and still now today, even though they're gone, they're not with us in physical form. When my grandmother and my mother, and on some levels my father too, who spoke English as a second language, were storytellers, and it influenced me greatly. Not only did they tell stories from their childhood and their past, my grandmother was born in 1893, and she had some wonderful stories, but they also shared stories that they created, that they made up. And those stories have stuck with me all my life and have influenced me because I do a lot of writing in what I do for Ageless Grace Brain Health. And I do a lot of storytelling myself, stories of my own and my own experiences and stories I share with others when we do our training and our programs. And one of the most important things in cognitive decline, as you probably know, is that there are stories there that can be harvested and enjoyed, not only by the immediate family, but by others. And so storytelling is a lot of what I do, and story listening is a lot of what I do. And that came directly from my grandmother, my mother, and from my father. They were very interesting people. My mother was a brainiac. She was a bookworm. She loved to teach. She loved to take courses. She did the London Times and the New York Times crossword puzzles every day. She carried around a book of word games. She played cards. She was the pianist at the church that my grandmother and grandfather gave the land for and founded. And she was a teacher, a school teacher. And yet my mother, with all that brain power and all the studying that she did, was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And that is a huge impact on my life and my goals and my mission. And my dad, as I mentioned, came from Eastern Europe, his whole family, and he spoke English as a second language. So he hated to read, and he didn't like to do word games or puzzles or anything like that. And yet what he did, he was an artist and a sculptor. And he decided he could sculpt his own body. And he became a bodybuilder and long before it was popular. And he was contemporaries of people like Jack LaLanne and Charles Atlas. And he became Mr. Tennessee, Mr. Wisconsin, Mr. Dixie, and Best Back and Abdominals in Mr. America and Mr. Universe. So I grew up with this very physical father who loved gymnastics and working out, and this very heady mother who loved to study and learn. And then there was my grandmother who used her hands all the time. She was a crochet person and a knitting person and a quilting person, and sewed all my clothes until I finally went away to New York City in my early 20s. And I was shocked when I first went into a store to buy something, and I went, oh, this isn't made well, and this costs so much money. I didn't know how lucky and blessed I was to have my grandmother making these beautiful clothes for me all my life. So I got the crafts and the hands and the doing. I got the intellectual side and I got the physical side, and those are all a big part of my mission and my purpose in making a difference in the world. My mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and I had already been doing lots of physical things and activities. I was teaching NIA classes, which is a combination of martial arts, dance arts, healing arts. I was a personal trainer. I had done all these things, even though my career for 35 years had been in marketing, branding, public relations in New York City and later in San Francisco. And I still taught classes every day. Even when I was working, I would teach early morning classes or evening classes. And the reason I did that was very personal. I was born with a form of spina bifida. And I say a form because most children who are born with spina bifida are often in wheelchairs early on. I never had to do that. I had a lot of physical pain, but I didn't have to do that. And I was told that I would be in a wheelchair by the time I was 40, if I was lucky. And so I spent all my younger days doing everything I could to avoid that and keep it from happening. And I have. And the more I move, the better I feel. So I had that background about movement and fitness and branding and marketing. And when my mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, I was in shock because, as I explained, she was very, very intellectual. She studied, she did all the things that at that time in the early 2000, we were saying, oh, if you do crossword puzzles, you won't have cognitive decline. If you study and take courses, if you learn new languages. Well, my mother did all of that, and she had Alzheimer's. And immediately my gut said, then that's not correct. There's no way that anyone could have done more to delay or halt the progress of cognitive decline than my mother. So I started researching, and I said, well, how can that be? Everything I've read is wrong. And around the same time, talk about serendipity, I had this vision of finding something that would help people, that would delay cognitive decline, that would improve if you have cognitive decline, that would help you from getting cognitive decline, a preventative. And so my gut instinct told me that movement may have something to do with that, because my dad, who moved all the time, was sharp as a tack until the day he died. I started researching on the internet, and this is kind of fascinating because this was 18 years ago. The word neuroplasticity, which I didn't even know, was not on the internet. It was nowhere. There was a little bit about brain health, a little bit about neurons, but not much. And then as I was doing research was being done about cognitive decline. And the first study from Harvard Medical School came out that said definitively, crossword puzzles, word games, all the things we thought that would delay or prevent cognitive decline did not prevent cognitive decline. And the reason was that it only activated a part of the brain, not the entire brain. And I like to compare that to brushing your teeth, meaning if you only brushed your teeth in the front for years, well, something bad is going to happen to all the other teeth. And that's what was happening with cognitive decline. People were playing cards or word games, and that part of their brain was healthy, but the rest of their brain was not. And so they had cognitive decline. So as soon as I read that, I said, this is amazing, except now what do we do about it? How can I help change the way people perceive cognitive decline? How can I help make a difference in people's lives? And maybe even it's soon enough to help my own mom. It turned out it wasn't too helpful, but it also created a bond between us when she no longer knew who I was, for example. So as I continued to study, and again, my gut instinct was it had something to do with movement. And I started to see studies about how yoga could help the brain. I saw studies how Tai Chi could help the brain. And then a study came out that said the best exercise for the brain is physical exercise, especially when it's something where you have to think about what you're doing to make it happen. Not that there's anything wrong with being on a treadmill or a Stairmaster, but you really don't have to think about it. It's automatic for most people. You can watch TV, you can listen to music, you can talk to someone else. You don't have to be thinking about what you're doing. So I said, that's something I can do. I started doing research programs where I was already teaching at a top 100 hospital in the United States, teaching fitness and wellness. And I was already teaching at some retirement communities, those types of things. So I got permission to do pilot programs and experiment with what movements might affect the brain. Long story short, fast forward, we had several universities, medical schools, other places test the programs I was coming up with. And we came up with 21 tools, which are basically games or exercises that you do physically, and they actually help restore, prevent, improve any kind of cognitive function or cognitive decline in the body. And so it has been my mission, in honor and memory of my mother and in honor of memory of my dad and my grandmother, to be able to launch this program into the world. And we now have Ageless Grace programs being taught in 50 US states and 32 other countries. In the process of developing the Ageless Grace Brain Health Program, and in the process of talking to doctors, nurses, physical therapists, exercise physiologists, anyone who would give me their time and expertise and attention to bring all of this together in one program. Each one of the tools are things that are not so unique in and among themselves. What makes it unique is that it's a program that has been honed and created so that anyone can do it. People in wheelchairs, people who are really healthy, triathletes, children, anyone can do this brain health program. Only requirement is a brain. But it also means that anyone can teach it. Anyone can share it. We have people aging in range from 17 to 88 teaching this program to others and sharing it with other people. So in that process, I met so many people, and I got the privilege of traveling all over the world to be able to launch the program. Meaning I have gone and done trainings and presentations and spoken at conferences in South Africa and all over Europe and in Australia, all over the United States and Canada. I've been so many wonderful places and met so many amazing people that not only are intrigued by the program, but that have raised their hands and said, I want to make change in a positive way in the world as well. And so we now have over 3,600 people who are trained as certified Ageless Grace educators who are teaching in all these countries and sharing this program. There's a lot of commonality, as we all know, in the world. Even though it's a different culture, the skin color may be different, the way we were brought up may be different. In fact, there are so many things that we have in common and that we share. The number one health concern in the world right now, above heart disease, above cancer, is losing cognitive function as we age. And that's a concern from people who are in their teens or children to people who are in their hundreds, because everyone is either worried about it for themselves, concerned about it, has it on their mind, or their child watching their grandmother suffer from cognitive decline, or a mother watching her mother or father suffer from cognitive decline. It's a huge epidemic in our world. What I found is that people all over the world are not only interested in it, they're willing to share their ideas, they're willing to reach out to others, they have this compassionate heart. The people who share the Ageless Grace tools and exercises with other people, whether they're very healthy cognitively or whether they're in maybe the advanced stages of Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or dementia, they're willing because they have a compassionate heart. And that I've found to be a universal connector everywhere I've been, that people not only care about helping others, care about helping themselves, but they really want to make a difference in the world. We are blessed to have over 50 trainers who are different than the educators who teach the program after they get certified. And those trainers are the ones who train the educators to be able to teach and share the program. Those trainers are all over the world. All the countries that I mentioned earlier are represented by a trainer. And that trainer is passionate about sharing this program by training other people, because it's a multiplier, right? When one person trains 10 or 15 more, and then those people teach people that are 15, 20 people in a class, suddenly exponentially, this message is getting out to the world. And that was my vision from the beginning, that it would ripple, that it would multiply. And it's been beyond my wildest expectations. Even though my background is in branding and marketing, I'm still amazed, which tells me that there are so many people in the world who are concerned about cognitive health and the quality of their brain function, how they can focus, how they can pay attention. And more people are understanding that it's not something you want to wait until you say, gee, I've been diagnosed with some form of cognitive decline, or wait until you notice that your memory isn't working well. It's something that you can do as a child, as a teenager in your 20s, and build cognitive reserve and cognitive resilience. And so my vision, it's several fold, is that this grows more and more. We have more trainers, we have more educators, we have more students who are taking the program and learning about it so that they can practice it on their own. This is not a program where you must go to a class. You can also practice it on your own at home. And even 10 or 15 minutes a day can make a huge difference in your cognitive function. But I also have the vision of being in more countries, more places. I also have the vision of younger and younger people, both practicing the program and then using the tools and teaching and sharing the program. Because as I said, wow, what a world it would be if children had this information when they were in elementary school and they realized they actually had choices that could affect the quality of their brain health. They don't have to say, I have a certain genetics, and because my grandmother had Alzheimer's, I probably will too. It's a dark cloud hanging over the head of many people, and it isn't true. There are things you can do to affect your brain health. And so I feel like I would like that message to be all over the world, accessible to all ages, all abilities. There's no one who can't do this program because, again, it's seated. And one thing I'd like to say about that seated is so that people understand why it can affect their lives, regardless of their physical abilities or challenges, is it's seated not because we're frail or have poor balance or have some sort of physical challenge. It's seated regardless of your age. If you're a triathlete, if you're 12, if you're a nurse, no matter what it is you do the program seated, because immediately your brain is activated by figuring out how to do these simple things that we've come up with physically that will affect the functions of your brain. So, for example, if we say, let's pretend we're playing baseball and imagine that you're hitting the ball with the bat or running the bases or catching or pitching, you have to figure out, how do I do that without getting out of my chair? So that is the instantaneous connection to the brain, which causes new neurons or brain cells to fire, and which causes new neural pathways to be made, because the primary way of exercising the brain and making it healthier and stronger and more resilient is to be able to figure something out that you don't already know how to do, or to do something that you already know how to do in a different way. It's something we did as little children. We played, and it seemed like we were just having a good time, but we were in fact developing our brains by learning things we didn't know how to do physically. And so that is the premise of this, that we're going to continue to learn new, simple, fun, playful, spontaneous things from a physical point of view that will affect the 5 primary functions of our brain. And so even that's something that I would like to get the message out to more and more people. A lot of people know about pills they can take to help with cognitive function. They know about different kinds of medical programs they can do. They know about remedies that they think might help with cognitive function. But we know for a fact that this works, and it's fun, and it's simple, and it's playful, and it affects strategic planning, memory and recall, analytical thinking, creativity and imagination, and kinesthetic learning, the 5 things that the brain does over and over and over again every day. And so that's the message that I want to get out to the world through. We do have a website, and it's agelessgrace.com, agelessgrace.com. It's a very extensive website. You can get a free class, so you can experience what am I talking about when I say 21 games or tools or exercises you can play. Uses your imagination, your spontaneity. You can also get a handout that is called 10 Tips for Aging Gracefully. And it's a 31-page booklet that you can print out and have. On the website are all kinds of support products. There are video clips that cover all 21 tools that you can purchase. They're downloads, or we actually have physical products in the form of DVDs. And we have flashcards to help support you in playing these games and practicing these tools. And we have something called a playbook as opposed to a workbook, because this is based on the concept of playing with new and different things that you've never done before. We also have a Facebook page called Ageless Grace Brain Health, and anyone can join that. And there are all kinds of posts and mini video clips and reels that you can watch that may teach you one of the tools or exercises that you can practice at home. We hope that you will join us. We're on 7 platforms, including LinkedIn and Twitter and all of those, Instagram, and you can find us there under Ageless Grace. It's information that can literally change your life or the life of someone you loved. It's a tool to help you stimulate and activate those 5 primary functions of your brain. Simple, easy, playful. And the good news is that there's no right and there's no wrong. It's very spontaneous. Most of these things you won't be able to do very well, which will cause a lot of laughter and work your sense of humor. So first of all, one is called gentle geometry. And it involves circles, lines, and triangles, which we're going to do physically, not mentally or on a piece of paper. I love doing Ageless Grace to music. We're not going to do that today because I want you to be able to hear my voice and see what I'm doing. But you can put on your favorite music, and it gives you a beat and a rhythm to follow along. And of course, music affects the brain. Imagine you're playing your favorite music, whatever that is. And let's start by drawing a circle with one hand. Sounds pretty simple, right? Well, then we're going to draw a triangle with the opposite foot. Uh-oh. You'll notice I don't have shoes on because there's 7,000 nerve endings in each one of my feet and each one of my hands, which are part of the central nervous system along with the brain. So we're attempting to draw a triangle with the foot. I'm not very good at it. And a circle with the hand. And then if you kind of sort of got this, draw a horizontal line, because the whole point is I want you to not really be able to do this, but I want you to do your very best, and don't stop. Whatever happens, don't say, oh, I can't do this, I'm stopping. Because the minute you stop firing the neurons in your brain. Now, what's important is the brain has two sides, and it's divided down the middle by what I call the Grand Canyon of the brain, the corpus callosum. And when we cross body, we're also crossing those neurons who jump across the Grand Canyon of the brain, so to speak. So we're going to mirror this. Now we're going to make the circle with this hand, and we're going to try to draw the triangle with this leg and laugh as we do it. And then see if you can add that horizontal line. Now, this is not a set pattern, meaning when you do this tomorrow, you might draw a horizontal line or a vertical line with one hand. You might draw the triangle with the other hand. You might draw a triangle with your nose. I mean, the whole idea is to put these combinations of shapes together. My triangle's a mess. And see if you can fire some new neurons by doing something that you don't know how to do and you're attempting to figure out. Now, the fun thing about this, not only is it funny and laughable, but it's challenging your brain. That simple little thing. You can't think about anything else but what you're doing with your body while you're attempting that. Music is playing, you're following along the beat of the rhythm. And the way we practice it is one song goes to one tool. So if that song you're listening to happens to be 3.5 minutes long, you do this for 3.5 minutes and you stop. And when the next song comes on, your CD player, your radio, your Spotify, whatever you're using for music, then you change and do another tool. So here's another tool called body math. And it's very simple. We're using our body to count in different ways and create different patterns. Again, it's different every time we do it. So let's just get a beat going with your hand and your foot. And the count is going to be to the music, whatever's playing. It could be slow, it could be fast. I'm choosing a moderate pace right now. And then we practice it on the other side. And once we've got the feeling of that beat, we start to count 1 to 8 on each side. So it goes like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. And then I'm going to call out a number and you're going to clap on that number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. Clap on 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Count backwards. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Forwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 7, 6, 5. Clap on 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you can see how we could go on for several minutes with this and to the beat of the music, sometimes fast, sometimes slow. You don't have to pick a particular song to go with what you're doing. And you do that the length of the song so that your brain is becoming more agile by jumping from, we're not doing gentle geometry anymore, we're doing body math.
Thank you so much, Denise. I am eager for people in our audience to do as I did. After I had this conversation with you a couple of weeks ago, I went right to your website and subscribed to one of your programs and have started doing your Ageless Grace program every day as part of my morning routine for about 10 or 15 minutes every day. And you're right. It's fun. And you're right. I look absolutely silly and ridiculous doing it. But I can tell just in these few days that I actually am engaging parts of my brain in ways that I don't typically do, because I'm one of those people that likes to walk with my headphones in or ride a bike, listening and learning something, but not paying too much attention to what's going on with my body. You have created a convert in me. And I hope many more people will join those thousands and thousands and thousands of people across the United States and all around the world in this movement that you've started to get us to start using all 5 capabilities of our brain to help us be healthier, to help us be happier for the long term, so we can keep on changing the world on our own terms. I'm Patty Talbot. I'm always learning, and I know you are too.